In module 1 of chapter 7, we have defined different types of integral transform. In the definition of those integral transform, we have taken at least one of the limits of the integral as infinite. But in reality, there are some situation where we need to do some experiment in a box. So, for that case, the space variable is no more infinite. Therefore, it is relevant to consider finite integral transform. Thus, module 5 of chapter 7 is devoted to find solution of a partial differential equation using finite integral transform. The entire module is divided into two sections. In first section, we shall discuss about the solution using finite sine or cosine transform. In second section, we shall discuss about the application of finite Hankel transform. Now, we are going to the slide presentation of this module. First, I shall define finite Fourier sine and cosine transform. The finite Fourier sine transform of a function f(x) is denoted by f bar s n is equal to integration 0 to a f(x) sin n pi x by a into dx, where n is an integer. Similarly, we can define finite Fourier cosine transform of f(x), which is denoted by f bar c n is equal to integration 0 to a f(x) cos n pi x by a dx. Now, if f(x) is continuous at x in the interval 0 less than x less than a, then inverse finite Fourier sine transform is defined as f(x) is equal to 2 by a sum over n f bar s, which is function of n, into sin n pi x by a. Similarly, we can define inverse cosine transform as f(x) equals to 1 by a f c bar 0 plus 2 by a sum over n f c bar, which is function of n, into cos n pi x by a. Now, we are considering a physical problem where we shall use finite Fourier sine transformation. So, problem is considered is given here. So, we have to find the heat conduction problem. We have to solve heat conduction problem where there is a rod of finite length and the heat distribution is given by the equation del u del t equals to kappa del 2u del x square, where x varies from 0 to a and t greater than 0. The boundary condition is given by u at 0 t equals to f t and u at a t equals to 0 for t greater than 0. And it is also given that value of f0 is 0 and the initial condition is u x0 equals to 0 for 0 less than equals to x less than equals to a. So, now we have to solve the equation 1 together with the supplied initial and boundary conditions. So, first of all, we are taking finite sine Fourier transform of the given equation 1. So, for that we multiply the equation by sin n pi x by a and integrate over 0 to a. Now, if we see the left hand side of this expression, we interchange the differential operator and the integral operator in the next line. So, left hand side is equals to del del t of integration 0 to a u sin n pi x by a dx. Now we evaluate the value of the right hand side, the value of the integral in the right hand side using integration by parts. So for that we have taken sine function as our first function and del 2u del x square as our second function. So value of this integral is given by kappa sin n pi x by a into integration of second function, that is del u del x, limit 0 to a, minus derivative of first function, that gives cos of n pi x by a into n pi by a into integration of second function is del u del x dx. Now if we put the limit, then it contribute 0. In the next line we again apply integration by parts, taking cos n pi x by a as our first function and del u del x as our second function. So value of the integral becomes minus kappa n pi by a u cos n pi x by a and limit is 0 to a plus n pi by a integration 0 to a u sin n pi x by a dx. Now if we put the limits, then we obtain u, the value of u a0 is 0, it is given. The value of u at is equal to 0, which is given in condition 2. So here if we put value of x as a, its value is 0, that means u at at is 0 and value at x equals to 0 is ft. So using that condition we obtain the relation which is written here, where us bar denotes the sine transform of u. So that is us bar equals to integration 0 to a u into sine n pi x by a dx. Therefore the resultant equation is dt of us bar is equal to kappa n pi by a into ft minus kappa n square pi square by a square us bar nt. Now this is an ordinary differential equation and this is a first order equation. So solution of this equation can be obtained easily, and using the boundary condition we can write the solution as us bar equals to kappa n pi by a integration 0 to t f tau e to the power minus kappa n square pi square by a square t minus tau d tau. Now we want to get u as function of x and t. So we have to transform the variable n to the variable x. So we have to take the inverse finite Fourier sine transform of this quantity. So according to formula u x t equals to 2 by a sum over n sine n pi x by a us bar nt. Now substituting the value of us bar in the next line, our required solution is given here. U x t equals to 2 kappa pi by a square sum over n e to the power minus kappa n square pi square by a square into t into sine n pi x by a integration 0 to t f tau e to the power kappa n square pi square by a square into tau d tau. Now we are going to solve wave equation using finite Fourier transform. So the equation is given by del 2u del t square equals to c square del 2u del x square. Obviously here we have considered a one dimensional wave equation and u satisfies the initial conditions. U at t equals to 0 is fx and del t of u at t equals to 0 is gx. And we also have the boundary conditions. U at x equals to 0 is 0, u at x equals to a is also 0. Again we take Fourier transform of the given equation. So, for that we multiply the both sides of the equation by sin n pi x by a, then we integrate over x from 0 to a and we obtain the relation which you can see in this slide. In the left hand side we interchange the differential operator and the integral operator. So, the left hand side is equals to del t square of integration 0 to a u sin n pi x by a into dx. So, this is nothing but u s n t. Now, if we evaluate the right hand side, we are applying integration by parts, taking del to u del x square as the second function and sin n pi x by a as our first function. So, integration by parts gives the expression which is written here. Now, if we apply the boundary condition on x equals to 0 and x equals to a, then this term, the term in the square bracket becomes 0. So, the equation is written here. In this step we again apply integration by parts, taking del u del x as second function and cos n pi x by a as our first function. We again apply integration by parts. The first term becomes 0 if we apply the supplied boundary condition, and the second term can be written as, which is given here, and the value of the integral is defined as finite sine transform of u. So, it is denoted by u is bar n t. Therefore, the given equation reduces to an ordinary second order differential equation and its solution can be written as combination of sine function and cosine function. So, u s bar is equals to a n cos n pi c t by a plus b n sin n pi c t by a. Now, to find the values of a n and b n, we again takes finite Fourier sine transform of the initial conditions. The initial conditions are u at x 0 equals to f x and del u del t at x 0 equals to g x. So, finite Fourier transform of this initial condition gives u s n 0 equals to f s bar and del t of u s n 0 equals to g s bar, where f s bar and g s bar are finite sine transform of the function f t and g t respectively. And I have already mentioned that u s bar denotes the finite sine transform of u with respect to x. So, if we apply these initial conditions to the general solution 4, we can immediately find the values of a n and b n as a n equals to f s bar n and b n equals to a by n pi c g bar s. So, substituting these values of a n and b n in equation 4, we obtain the expression for u s bar as f s bar into cos n pi ct by a plus a by n pi c into gs bar into sin n pi ct by a. Now, to get back the expression for u or to find the value of u as function of x and t, we need to apply inverse Fourier transform. So, in the next step we applied inverse sine Fourier transform of us bar. So, according to that formula, u is equal to 2 by a sum over n us bar sin n pi x by a. Now, substituting the value of us bar, we obtain our required solution u as 2 by a sum over n f bar cos n pi ct by a plus a by n pi c g bar sin n pi ct by a multiplied with sin n pi x by a. And in this solution, it is to be noted that these f bar and g bar are the finite sine transform of the functions ft and gt respectively. So, in the next line, we are substituting the values of f bar and g bar. So, substituting those values, the solution becomes this, which you can see in this slide. I have already told that Hankel's transformation is used to solve axisymmetric problem in cylindrical polar coordinate system. The finite Hankel transformation is used to find temperature distribution in a long circular pipe, where radius vector r is a finite number. The method of finite Hankel transform was first introduced by Snedon in 1946. Now, we are going to the slide presentation for the derivation. I have already defined Hankel transform, but here I am defining finite Hankel transform where the limits are finite. So, finite Hankel transform of function f is defined as integration 0 to a r fr j nu r xi I dr, where j nu is the Bessel function of order nu and of first kind, where xi I are the positive roots of the transcendental equation j nu a xi I equals to 0. The inverse finite Hankel transform is defined as fr equals to 2 by a square sum over I f bar j nu r xi I divided by j dashed nu a xi I square, where j dash denotes the derivative of j nu. Before applying finite Hankel transform, I am deriving some important result. First of all, I want to derive the Hankel transform of the operator d2f dr square plus 1 by r df dr minus nu square by r square f. So, according to definition, the Hankel transform of this expression is equals to 0 to integration 0 to a r d2f dr square plus 1 by r df dr minus nu square by r square f into j nu r xi I dr. First, we are computing the integral of the first term. So, that is integration 0 to a r d2f dr square j nu dr. So, here we are applying integration by parts, taking d2f dr square as second function. So, we obtain the second line, and in this expression the term in the square bracket is 0. So, the value of the integral becomes minus integration 0 to a ddr of r j nu into df dr dr. Again we are applying integration by parts, taking df dr as our second function and the dash term as our first function, we obtain the expression which is written in the next line. So, if you see the expression, the term in the square bracket can be written as j nu r xi I. So, here we are taking derivative of the term ddr of, we are expanding this term ddr of r j nu. So, this is j nu r xi I into derivative of r which is 1 plus r into derivative of the Bessel function j nu dash r xi I into derivative of r into xi I which gives xi I into fr whole multiplied with fr, and the limits are 0 to a. Now, using the condition j nu a xi I equals to 0, the value of the expression becomes, which you can see in the first line of this slide. Now, we are finding the value of the integral 0 to a df dr j nu r xi I dr. We again applying integration by parts, taking df dr as second function and the other function as first function, and the result can be seen here. Now, applying the condition j nu a xi I equals to 0, the value of the integral becomes minus integration 0 to a ddr j nu r xi I into fr dr. Now, we substitute the values of the integral which we have calculated in the last two slides. We obtain the finite Hankel transform of the expression d2f dr square plus 1 by r df dr minus mu square by r square f is equals to 0 to a r fr into d2 dr square j nu plus 1 by r ddr of j nu minus mu square by r square j nu dr minus a xi I j nu dashed into fa. Now, we apply a transformation p is equal to a into xi I. So, in this using that transformation, the term in the square bracket in the last line of the last slide can be written in terms of p as xi square into d2 dp square of j nu plus 1 by p ddp of j nu minus mu square by p square into j nu, and the dash terms are written in terms of the variable r. Now, there is an objective to transform the variable r to the variable p, because you can see the term in the square bracket satisfy the Bessel equation. The Bessel equation is d2 dp square j nu plus 1 by p ddp of j nu plus 1 minus mu square by p square j nu equals to 0. Therefore, the value of d2 dp square j nu plus 1 by p ddp of j nu minus mu square by p square j nu is equal to minus j nu. So, in this integral we substitute the value of the expression in the square bracket as minus j nu. So, substituting that value, the value of the integral becomes minus xi I square integration 0 to a r fr j nu dr minus a xi I j nu dashed into fa, and this integral, the first integral, this is nothing but the finite Hankel transform of the function fr, and we denote that transform by f bar nu. So, the Hankel transform of the expression where we have started, this expression becomes minus xi I square f bar minus a xi I j nu dashed into f a. That you can see in equation 8, and this relation holds for all nu greater than equals to 0. So, in particular we can take the value of nu as 0. Therefore, H0 I of d2f dr square plus 1 by r df dr is equals to minus xi I square f0 bar plus a xi I j1 a xi I into fa, where we have put the value of j0 dashed as j1. Now, we shall use finite Hankel transform to solve heat conduction equation. The heat conduction equation is given by, in polar coordinate system, is given by the equation which is written in 1, del u del t equals to kappa del to u del r square plus 1 by r del u del r, where r varies from 0 to a. And the boundary condition is given u at a t equals to 0. The initial condition is u r 0 equals to fr. Now, we want to apply finite Hankel transform. For that, we first take finite Hankel transform of the given equation. So, we multiply the equation by r into j0 and then we integrate it over integration 0 to a, and we obtain the equation for u0 bar, which you can see in the first line of this slide. Now, we need to apply the given boundary condition. So, if you see this equation, uat, we have also given the value of uat is 0. So, if you apply that condition here, this term becomes 0. So, the equation reduces to the form which is written in equation number 10. And this equation, in this equation, u0 bar is the finite Hankel transform of order 0. So, u0 bar is integration 0 to a r u into j0 dr, where I are the roots of the equation j0 a xi I equals to 0. We have also the initial condition 3. The initial condition 3 says that u at t equals to 0 is fr. So, if you take 0th order Hankel transform of that initial condition, that gives u0 bar equals to f0 bar. Now, the problem is now to find the solution of equation 10 together with the initial condition which is given by equation number 11. And the solution of equation 10, if you see the equation 10, this is a first order ordinary linear differential equation. So, its solution is u0 bar equals to f0 bar into e to the power minus kappa xi I square into t, where we have used the initial condition u0 bar at t equals to 0 is equal to f0 bar. So, this is the solution of equation 10. Now, we want to find the value of u as function of r and t. So, to find that expression, in this stage we applying inverse finite Hankel transform. So, according to that formula, its value is equals to 2 by a square sum over I f0 bar e to the power minus kappa xi I square into t j0 divided by j0 dash square. So, this is our required solution, but here f0 bar is given by, this is nothing but the finite Hankel transform of the function f. So, if you substitute that value, we get the required solution which is written in the last line of this slide. Thus, in module 5 of chapter 7, we have applied finite sine transform to solve heat equation and wave equation. Similarly, finite cosine transform can be used to solve the same equations. We have also applied finite Hankel transform to find solution of heat equation. Finite Hankel transform can be used to find solution of wave equation. The derivation is available in e-text. At the end of this module, I want to mention that finite integral transform is essential to match the theoretical outcome with the experimental results. Now we end this module.